The Castle, Episode 3, Wouldn't It Be Nice? Written by Eleanor Wells. Interior, the castle. Lucy and Dorothy's room, morning. Sunlight floods through the windows in Lucy and Dorothy's room. Dorothy opens her eyes and sees that Lucy is still fast asleep. Dorothy tosses and turns for a minute, seeing the clock since saying 7:30. She sighs, then gets out of bed. Interior, the castle. Upstairs hallway, day. Dorothy wanders the hallway for a moment, admiring her surroundings, the architecture, the paintings on the walls. After a moment, she sees Gavin doing the same.
Good morning.
Morning.
I figured I'd be jet lagged and sleep till 2.
Gavin shrugs.
You wake up early enough most days, it's burned into you.
Yeah, I guess.
Gavin smiles at her.
I think I smell something good downstairs.
I could go for some caffeine.
Gavin turns toward the staircase, and they hear the faint sound of a sizzling pan.
Something smells good.
The two linger for a moment.
What time was breakfast?
I don't remember.
That's right, I think he said 10 o'clock.
Dorothy sighs.
Why is it so early?
More time to enjoy the castle.
I guess.
They exchange a look and then go downstairs. Interior, the castle. Downstairs hallway, day. Dorothy and Gavin pass through the hallway, much more visible now in the daylight. The halls are covered in richly covered carpeting.
It's so quiet here.
It's nice, isn't it?
There's always so much noise outside my house in Atlanta.
Gavin smiles tiredly at her. Then they come across an archway leading into a small banquet room. There's a long wooden table with chairs and a place off to the side where coffee and tea, along with mugs, have been set out.
Looks like we found the right place.
They go in. Interior, the castle, banquet hall, day. Gavin pours himself a cup of coffee and Dorothy a cup of tea. They sit.
I don't know if it's just me, but the tea tastes way better here.
Gavin smiles.
Maybe I'll have some later.
Gavin takes a long sip from his coffee.
So you've lived your whole life in the city?
Dorothy nods.
I just feel like...
He trails off.
I'm sorry, this is dumb.
What do you want to say?
I just feel like nowadays we've gotten so far away from nature. Everything is careers and work, and that's not how life's supposed to be.
That's not dumb. I don't want to live in Atlanta forever. I work because I have to make money. But I wish I was free to do what I want to do and not what I have to do. I don't know what else to do about it. It's just how the world works.
That's exactly it. Oh, we spend most of our lives working and we're miserable because the world tells us that what we want isn't possible.
You know, when I got fired, I was relieved. I'm still relieved when I think about how I never have to set foot in that place again. I think it was a blessing in disguise.
Probably was.
Gavin laughs ruefully.
I'm so ready for things to not be the way they are right now.
How do you want things to be?
I'm not sure if I told you this, but I want to buy some land and turn it into a campground.
Yeah, I think I remember that from the announcement special. And it sounds wonderful. I'm not sure I've heard anyone have that dream before.
Not a lot of people think it's possible. My parents want me to, I don't know, do anything but that. They work so hard, so I think it's time for them to imagine dreams as more than just dreams.
I think they just want what's best for you.
What about you? What does your mom want? Does your mom want what's best for you?
Dorothy pauses for a long time before she responds.
I'm sure she does.
Then Sylvie enters the dining room.
Morning.
Sylvie helps herself to a cup of coffee and joins them at the dining table.
How did you both sleep?
Really well.
Like a rock.
Guess I'm just too used to waking up early.
Just then, Sylvie's stomach rumbles.
Is breakfast really not until 10?
In answer to a question, a woman, Mary, in her 60s, enters with a tray of scones. She has white hair and a kind face.
I'm Mary, Mr. Keene's chef. Welcome to the castle. What are your names?
I'm Gavin.
Sylvie.
Dorothy.
There's still 2 more of you, right?
They're asleep.
No harm in that. You are on vacation after all.
The group stares at the scones for a moment.
Silly me. You need plates. I'll be right back.
As Mary leaves, Gavin, Sylvie, and Dorothy exchange a look, but no one says anything.
So here we are. Smaller than I thought it would be.
Well, castles in these days were mainly fortresses. This is before palaces.
Right. It just seemed like he wanted to make us think it was a bigger from all those pictures and videos. I almost feel like the hotel was nicer. But it's very nice here.
I wonder what's on the agenda for today. Just drift along like we did long ago, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder when Mr. Keene's coming back.
Yeah, who knows?
Just then, Mary comes back with plates and serves them scones. They all start to eat.
These are amazing.
The 3 of them continue to eat.
I did catch the view of the lake, though, before I came in.
Sylvie sighs longingly. Just then, Dorothy finishes a cup of tea and stands up.
I'm going to explore. I'll be back.
All right.
See ya.
Interior, the castle. Downstairs hallway, day. Dorothy walks slowly through the hallway, now fully visible in the sunlight. She takes in every detail she possibly can. Interior, the castle. Living area, day. Dorothy makes her way into the main, elegant living area. She sees the exact view of the lake that Sylvie was referring to earlier. She gazes at it in awe for a moment. Then she goes to lie down on the nearest couch and stares up at the ceiling. Interior, Dorothy's childhood bedroom, flashback. We're in Dorothy's memory, 1969. It's evening. Young Dorothy, age 4, lies in bed. Young Lily, age 24, sits beside her, and we see just how much mother and daughter resemble one another. Lily is reading her a story, Shel Silverstein's The Giving Tree.
Well, an old stump is good for sitting and resting. Come, boys, sit down. Sit down and rest. And the tree was happy. The end.
Another story?
That's it for tonight, sweetheart.
I'm not sleepy.
Shut your eyes and get some rest.
Mommy,
What?
does the tree ever grow back in the story?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because she gave it to the boy.
Why?
Well, because she loved him and that she would give him anything she had to make sure that she was happy, even if she didn't have much. That's what it means to love someone, sweetheart.
Do you love me that much, Mommy?
Of course I do.
Well, what about Daddy? Didn't you love him that much?
Well, your daddy decided there wasn't a place in his life for us, but that doesn't mean I love you any less. Okay? Or that you're not as good as people that have both a mommy and a daddy.
I know. Mommy,
Hmm?
can you sing to me?
For a little bit. What should I sing?
Whatever you want.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? Then we wouldn't have to wait so long. And wouldn't it be nice to live together in the kind of world where we belong? You know, it's gonna make that much better when we can say goodnight and stay together.
As she sings the second verse, young Lily notices that her daughter's eyes have already begun to close. She fixes her blanket and kisses her on the forehead, just as the memory fades. Interior, the castle. Living area, day. Dorothy wakes up on the couch. She eyes a nearby clock and realizes it's 5 after 10. She sits up, and a moment later, Gavin enters the room.
Oh, there you are.
I guess I was more tired than I thought.
Oh, well, breakfast is ready and everyone's in the dining room. No rush.
I'll be there.
He leaves. A second later, Dorothy stands up and follows. Interior, the castle. Banquet hall, day. Dorothy, somewhat out of sorts, joins everyone else in the dining room. Marta and Lucy are there too now. Everyone is in conversation, enjoying themselves. A plate has been laid out for Dorothy with a full traditional Scottish breakfast. Everyone else eagerly digs in. Dorothy refills her tea and sits.
My goodness, I don't think I've seen so much food in my life.
I know.
They continue to eat in silence for a moment. Then Sylvie speaks.
So I'm curious. I want to know how each of you found out about this competition and why you all decided to apply.
They pause and look in Sylvie's direction.
We had these adverts in the bookshop where I work, pamphlets, I guess, by the register that people could take. Day after day, staring at them, I finally took one and thought, maybe I had a shot. I know I wanted it so badly.
It was a day after closing of A Midsummer's Night Dream. I was lying in bed, bored, and I didn't know what I was going to do next, so I turned on the radio and they were talking about the competition. It was a chance to do something different.
I heard it on the radio too as I was driving down to see my folks for Thanksgiving. I was thinking about what they were going to say to me, all the little ways they were going to judge me.
He turns to Marta.
I like what you said, a chance to do something different.
My boss told me about it one day, super offhandedly. She hands me this magazine and goes, "Aren't you in college? You should apply." I don't think she expected I'd actually, win.
She stuck working at the grocery store and now you're here.
Yeah, and it feels good.
I saw flyers about it on campus, and yeah, I just wanted to do something different too.
Sylvie smiles and they go back to their meal.
I wonder where Keene is.
He doesn't come out in the sunlight. It will reveal his secret.
Okay, that would be funnier if he wasn't with us all yesterday.
I don't know. Doing whatever rich people do.
After a moment of silence, Gavin speaks again.
Does anyone want to swim in the lake after breakfast?
Sure.
I just think it's a shame for us to be stuck inside all day.
If it's not too cold.
We'll be fine. We can all jump in. We'll feel better after we do it.
If it's safe.
I mean, Keene hasn't said otherwise, so we can make a fire afterwards to get warm.
Sylvie shrugs and the group continues their meal. Exterior, the castle, lake shore, day. The group, dressed in old clothes and carrying towels, walks toward the lake. There's a dock. It's windy, but otherwise it's a warm day.
See? Not bad at all.
Sylvie is the first one to walk on the dock, followed by Marta, Lucy, and Gavin. Dorothy is the last to join them. They all set their towels on the dock.
Who's first?
This was your idea.
Okay, fair.
Sylvie laughs nervously. Then she jumps in,
Woo!
disappearing in the water before resurfacing with a smile on her face. Shortly thereafter, Gavin also jumps in, doing a backflip, prompting everyone to cheer. Lucy joins them, doing a cannonball. Marta follows thereafter with a twirl, leaving only Dorothy.
Come on, Dorothy.
Is it deep? I'm not really good at treading water.
No, I'm standing on my tiptoes.
Same, come on.
Dorothy hesitates for a moment, a nervous smile forming on her face as she jumps in. She brings her head above water, and once she gets her bearings, she's smiling too.
Okay, that's kind of fun.
See, I told you.
Dorothy smiles nervously.
You ever do anything like this at home?
No.
The five wade around in the water.
I wonder how far we are from Loch Ness. That would be fun to figure out so we could go. Maybe.
For sure.
For a moment, no one says anything.
Has anyone here ever done a polar bear plunge?
No, what's that?
Every New Year's Day, people jump into the lake where I'm from.
Don't you live in Wisconsin?
Yeah, so it's always really cold. That's the idea.
That sounds crazy.
That's Wisconsin for you.
I feel like they do stuff like that back home too.
Too warm for that in Atlanta.
I'm such a wimp when it comes to cold weather.
I think the last time we had snow was 2 years ago, maybe 3.
No one speaks for a moment.
Speaking of, the air is going to be really cold when we get out. Shoot.
I know something that'll make you colder.
Sylvie splashes Dorothy in the face. Dorothy splashes her back, and soon they're all messing around in the water, laughing, enjoying themselves. In the chaos, no one heard Mr. Keene's car pull up. They stopped for a moment and noticed that he's been watching them.
Now he shows up.
The group freezes, expecting him to do something. Instead, he simply turns and enters the castle.
Okay, then.
There's an awkward silence among the group. Then a strong gust of wind blows some leaves off the trees.
Let's go inside.
Good idea.
They all get out of the water, shivering as they grab their towels. Interior, the castle, main hall, day. The group enters the main hall. They're shivering, but at the same time, they're all laughing, talking. They see Mr. Keene sitting on one of the sofas, reading the newspaper. He sees them and shoots them an angry look.
What's happened here?
We were just in the lake.
Change immediately, then meet me back down here.
Everyone stares, not expecting such a clipped, angry reaction. Everyone nods, and no one says anything. Interior, the castle. Lucy and Dorothy's bedroom, day. Dorothy and Lucy sort out their dry clothes.
Do you suppose we should wait to shower?
I think that's a good idea.
Interior, the castle, main hall, day. Lucy and Dorothy, in wet hair and dry clothes, enter the main hall to find Mr. Keene in the process of building a fire. He sees them, but doesn't say anything. The girls sit on the sofa, awkward and uncomfortable. The fire starts, and they move closer to it, comforted.
Thank you for being here. I'm not sure what's taking the others so long.
We decided to wait to shower. Maybe the others didn't.
Mr. Keene nods. Then he starts reading his newspaper again. They realize he's looking at the comics because he keeps laughing.
Does anyone ever make Peanuts jokes to you, dear?
Lucy stares at him blankly.
Peanuts, the comic strip.
No, Lucy's a common enough name.
Oh. I always wonder when people share names with other fictional characters. I suppose I share one with James Bond, but James is common enough.
He turns to Dorothy.
I know you get the Wizard of Oz a lot because you told me when we spoke on the phone.
At least I don't live in Kansas, and it would be like 10 times worse.
Oh, you're funny. Do you know that?
Dorothy nods vaguely. Just then, Gavin and Sylvie come down in clean clothes, obviously having just showered.
Marta's in the shower now. She'll be down in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvie and Gavin sit next to Dorothy and Lucy. They sit in awkward silence as Mr. Keene continues to look at the paper.
Garfield is hilarious too. I mean, funnily enough, I had an orange tabby cat named John when I was a boy. One day I wasn't watching him. He ran into the street and was hit by a car. Killed instantly.
Everyone is so taken aback by this nonchalant tone that no one knows what to say.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Keene.
Oh, that's quite all right, Dorothy. I'll have to show you a picture of him.
I have a dog named Odie at home. I miss him.
I never did like dogs much.
Awkward silence again.
Did you all have a good morning?
Breakfast was delicious.
I'm glad. Mary's been with me a few years, and she's wonderful, isn't she?
They all nod.
So how much do all of you know about Scottish history?
Not much, honestly.
Just then, Marta joins the group and sits down with the others.
Ah, thank you for being here, Miss Vasquez.
Sorry, I was in the shower.
I'm well aware. It seems that Lucy and Dorothy were the only two who showed any kind of respect for my time.
Sorry, but you weren't here. You didn't leave us any instructions on what to do, and I'm still not really sure what we did wrong.
Behaving like foolish children. Coming into the castle soaking wet. I expected more out of you five.
Okay, Mr. Keene, we're sorry for having fun. And if you're going to speak to us about respect, what do you have to say about having us sit in an airport or in a strange country for hours because you didn't tell us how we were supposed to get to the hotel?
Mr. Keene is clearly taken aback by Sylvie's tone. When he speaks again, he's softened.
Well, Sylvie, here's what happened at the airport. Fred was supposed to pick you up. He got the days mixed up. I didn't have a way to contact anyone. I assumed since you already had all the hotel information, you would just go. I'm truly sorry. He's truly sorry, and I will have him apologize when he sees you again.
Why didn't you just tell us that?
Because you didn't give me a chance to.
Then he gets his checkbook out of his pocket.
How much was the cab?
£20.
He starts to write the check.
Sylvia Crockett. Why do you not use that as a end of your name? It's quite nice.
Sylvia feels too much like an old woman's name.
Oh, I don't think so.
Sylvie takes the check, and Mr. Keene addresses the group.
Now, I came so that we could all have afternoon tea together. I thought we'd forego lunch, since you all had a large breakfast and Mary has plans for dinner.
Fine by me.
Everyone else nods in agreement.
I also want to discuss our plans for formal night. I hope everyone brought a black tie outfit, like I asked.
Everyone nods.
After we have tea, you are free to do whatever you wish, within reason, of course. There's a library and hiking trails and a motorboat anyone can take out. Just ask me first. There's also a screening room where we can spend evenings watching films. Ever since it was all put together, I never need to go to another cinema.
Everyone continues to listen.
We'll meet in the banquet hall where you had breakfast at 8 this evening. After, there will be champagne, music, and dancing in the ballroom, and I'd like everyone to have a chance to show off their talents. I set up a room where you could paint, if you'd like.
That sounds wonderful.
Mr. Keene,
What is it?
how far are we from Loch Ness?
Oh, about an hour and a half. Why?
We were wondering if we could go at some point on this trip, especially since, well, we love the castle, but we wanted to see more of Scotland.
I think that can probably be arranged. I'm sorry, it's it's just funny.
What's funny?
So many places to see and things to do, and you all just want to go to Loch Ness.
Where else would you have us go?
I wasn't planning on it, but the next few days we can sightsee. I'll think about the details over the course of today.
Then Mr. Keene checks his watch.
Tea will be ready in about 2 hours. You are all free to do whatever you wish until then.
They all get up, and just then, Mr. Keene gets Dorothy's attention.
Miss Gardner,
Yes?
I was wondering, I'm in need of new photos of myself for publicity and such, and I wanted to get some outside the castle. I was wondering if you would want to take them?
Sure.
You sound hesitant.
I mean, you could hire the best professionals. I'm not sure why you're asking me.
I want you.
Okay, sure. Can I shower first?
Of course.
He turns to Lucy.
Now, while she's in the shower, I'll show you where you can paint.
Lovely.
Everyone else, I'll show you around.
Exterior, the castle, day. Mr. Keene makes a debonair pose as Dorothy snaps a few photos. After a moment, she puts her camera down.
Mr. Keene,
Yes, Dorothy?
can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Why did you write me that check?
I wanted you to have a nice dress for our formal night.
But you only did it for me, not for the others.
The others have money to buy nice clothes, and I know you and your mother can't afford such luxuries.
So you felt sorry for me?
No. Oh, no, not at all. Dorothy, I hope that's not how I came across.
I assumed you gave one to everyone.
Oh. I'm sorry if it made you uncomfortable.
Dorothy says nothing.
Anyway, I'm not sure that the others are rich, exactly. Are they? Marta, maybe, but...
She trails off.
They're more well off than they realize.
She says nothing.
Well, I can't wait to see the dress.
Sure, I'm planning to wear it tonight.
Mr. Keene smiles, and the two stand awkwardly for a moment.
Should we get any more shots?
That would be splendid, Miss Gardner.
Okay.
Dorothy lifts her camera up again, and Mr. Keene continues to pose. Interior, the castle, library, day. Later, Dorothy finds herself in the castle's ornate library. Books fill the floor to ceiling shelves. She's overwhelmed in the best possible way and has to catch her breath. Towards one of the sofas, she sees the familiar yellow spines of National Geographic magazines, and she eagerly makes her way towards them. Dorothy kneels, taking one out. We see it's the November 1965 edition. On the cover is a man in a black turban, only his eyes visible. She cautiously opens it. Just then she hears the faint sound of the Beach Boys, God only knows, coming from a piano down the hall. Just as Dorothy has begun to page through the magazine, she sees Mr. Keene standing in the doorway. It takes her a minute to realize he's there, and she loses her grasp on the magazine.
Sorry, you scared me.
You found our library?
Then he then notices where she's sitting.
You found our National Geographics.
What's the music?
Miss Ellington on the piano. Have you been in the ballroom?
Not yet. Lucy plays?
Yes, she does. She must have neglected to mention it. I don't know why she would.
It's very nice.
Yes, it is.
Then Mr. Keene approaches and sits next to her. He takes the magazine that she was looking at.
November 1965.
Month and year I was born.
You want to see the way the world was?
Something like that.
I have wonderful memories of that time, Dorothy.
He looks back to the shelf and takes out one. June 1940.
Month and year of my birth.
He hands it to her, and she looks curiously.
How old does that make me?
45.
Yes.
For a moment, neither of them says anything.
I feel as though I blinked and my youth was gone. I didn't enjoy it because I spent it wishing I was something else.
You had everything. You still do.
But I didn't earn it. It's not always easy at the top, Miss Gardner. It's hard to know who you can really trust.
Dorothy nods vaguely.
Dorothy,
What?
is there anyone special back in Atlanta?
Do you mean like a boyfriend?
Like a boyfriend?
No.
Mr. Keene doesn't respond right away.
There will be. And when there is, he'll be lucky. Lucky to have you. Just choose well.
Dorothy stares blankly at a wall as Mr. Keene leaves. Interior, the castle, ballroom, day. Minutes later, Dorothy enters the ballroom and her jaw completely drops. The room is almost entirely made of gold, something out of a Disney fairy tale. She finds Lucy still at the piano, still the Beach Boys. Now she plays Wouldn't It Be Nice? Dorothy listens for a moment. Lucy pauses the song.
Beach Boys, huh?
It takes a moment for Lucy to realize she's there.
This is one of my favorite songs. My mom always loved them. She had a crush on Dennis Wilson.
Lucy smiles somewhat shyly.
I haven't played in ages. I went to lessons for a while, but they stopped because my parents didn't have money to pay for them.
I know how that goes.
There's a moment of awkward silence.
Where's everyone else?
Sylvie and Marta are still on their hike. I think Gavin's outside. Did you see Mr. Keene?
He was in the library a while ago. I'm not sure where he is now.
Lucy nods vaguely.
He wanted me to play tonight. I don't know what or if I'd be any good.
I think you should play if you want to. Don't worry about what the rest of us thinks.
Exterior, the castle, lakeshore, day. Dorothy sees Gavin sitting by himself on a ledge near the shore. He seems to be lost in thought. Dorothy hesitates in approaching him, but he notices her first and waves vaguely.
Hi. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you.
No, that's okay. Come join me.
Dorothy sits next to him.
You wanna know something funny that's been in my head all day?
What's that?
That I don't want to go back. I'm not being facetious. Obviously, we couldn't afford it here, but find another one of King's properties, split the rent 5 ways, start a new life.
Dorothy says nothing.
I don't have many commitments at home. Would just have to quit the fishing store, drop out of school. I mean, Keene's a little strange, but I figure most people like him are. I guess I miss my family, though.
In Atlanta, I'd wake up every morning with these knots in my stomach. Think about how repetitive each day is. Go to work, go to school, come home, try to remember to eat in between, and hope I get a good night's sleep. I have nothing to look forward to other than this vague idea that things are going to get better in the future. I wake up and my stomach is a rat's nest. It feels like that every moment of every day. Being here. And yeah, Mr. Keene's a little strange. But being here is one of the first times in my entire life that I haven't felt that.
Gavin has been listening intently. Dorothy notices how closely they're sitting. A moment later, he leans and kisses her. It's quick, impulsive, and before she knows it, Dorothy is staring at him, blushing red, realizing what just happened.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, don't be.
Gavin looks at her. Then he speaks, trying to form a coherent sentence.
It's just that you're really pretty, and I was just thinking that when we leave, I'm not gonna see you anymore, but you're uncomfortable. I'm sorry.
No, I don't be sorry. It's just that
What?
that's my
Dorothy struggles to get the next few words out of her mouth.
that's my first time doing that with anyone.
Gavin gives her a look.
Really?
Really.
She laughs nervously.
I'm gonna go inside.
I'll stay here.
Without another word, Dorothy walks back to the castle. She realizes she sees Mr. Keene standing at the window, but shrugs and keeps walking. Interior, the castle, living area, day. Dorothy wanders into the main living area. Mr. Keene is still standing at the window. She wanders toward the sofa for a moment before Mr. Keene speaks, still not turning. Dorothy says nothing, but touches her face to find it's still hot.
It's just about tea time. I thought we could have it in here.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Dorothy sits as Mr. Keene exits the room. Alone, Dorothy takes a moment to react to what happened outside with Gavin. She turns to look out the window and finds that Gavin is walking further down along the lake shore. She realizes that it's quiet, so quiet that she can hear the ambient noise of the room, of the wind outside. She stands up and looks out the window in the same spot where Mr. Keene was standing. After a moment of appreciating the vast expanse and the quiet beauty of the lake and the highlands, then she hears two familiar voices. She turns and sees Sylvie and Marta, both slightly out of breath and dressed in hiking clothes.
Hey,
Hi.
how's it going?
Can't complain. How was the hike?
Oh, it was wonderful. We were both really tired now. Where's Gavin and Lucy?
Dorothy awkwardly pauses before she answers.
Oh, Lucy, I'm not sure. I thought I saw Gavin outside.
She pauses again, half expecting them to say something, but they don't.
I'm curious to see what he has in mind for this formal tonight.
I think just dancing and champagne, and he wanted to give me a chance to perform something.
As Sylvie and Marta continue their conversation, Dorothy spaces out, thinking about Gavin.
You know what you're going to perform?
Maybe one of my monologues from St. John.
Oh yeah, you said you were in that, right?
I was.
You were?
It was either star in the play or take this trip.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
Marta shrugs.
John would have been my first starring role, but this trip is once in a lifetime. I mean, I accepted this without hesitating. Of course, and I just thought I'd be able to make both work.
Sylvie gives her a pitied look.
It's all right. I get it. There's always a chance I'll get to play her again. Besides, this is just for school. It's not like anyone actually cares, right?
I mean, everyone who's working on it cares. People who come and see it care.
You're right, but random people on the street say it's just a college show and don't give us the time of the day.
As Sylvie thinks about what to say, they both notice Dorothy.
Earth to Dorothy.
Dorothy's still spaced out. Marta laughs. Then Dorothy snaps out of it and turns to look at the both of them.
Sorry.
Her face once again turns bright red.
What happened to you?
Before she can answer, Mr. Keene re-enters with tea. He sees Sylvie and Marta and sets the tea down alongside a plate of bite-sized pastries on the coffee table.
How was the hike, ladies?
It was nice.
Would either of you care to change before you sit on this sofa?
Marta and Sylvie stare at him blankly.
You can start by taking off those hiking boots. I don't care to track the dirt and the outside into this castle.
Marta and Sylvie both continue to stare, obviously afraid. Then they get up and leave without another word. Dorothy gives Mr. Keene a look.
They can come back down and have some tea with us once they've changed into clean clothes.
Dorothy nods. As Mr. Keene serves them both tea and pastries, she opens her mouth to speak, but then says nothing.
Did you have anything to add?
Dorothy shakes her head.
Why are you so shy around me, Dorothy?
I'm not.
You are.
Dorothy says nothing.
Aren't you enjoying yourself?
Yes.
After a moment of awkward silence, Mr. Keene speaks again.
I'd like to hear more about your interest in National Geographic.
In what way?
It's a unique dream to have. It's not something I've heard every day.
I guess I like the idea of faraway places, being anywhere except my mother's house in Atlanta. I'm going to different countries, taking pictures, meeting people. If my pictures weren't an issue, maybe some other little girl with a single mom who can't afford to travel will be inspired.
Mr. Keene listens to her intently.
I just can't imagine how I'd get there. I mean, not even the most realistic dream to have anyway.
Why not?
Because life rarely turns out the way we expect or want it to.
I don't know that that's altogether true.
With all due respect, Mr. Keene, you've never known what it's like to not be able to do things because of money.
I know. And it's unfair. I don't know what to tell you other than I want to help.
I guess just thank you for believing in me. And I'm an adult. It's up to me to figure out the rest when I get back.
Mr. Keene looks into the hallway.
I doubt Mrs. Crockett and Ms. Vasquez will be joining us.
I think you scared them off.
Dorothy laughs nervously, and Mr. Keene starts to laugh too.
I suppose I did. I'll apologize to the both of them later.
They each take a few more sips of tea.
I should go check on how they're setting up in the ballroom for tonight.
I'll stay here for a minute more.
Mr. Keene gestures to their dishes.
You can leave those. Mary will get them.
Dorothy nods. Interior, the castle. Lucy and Dorothy's room, later. A little while later, Dorothy enters the room to find Lucy lying in bed, but awake.
Hey,
Hey, I'm so tired.
I think Mr. Keene was wondering why he didn't come down for tea. It was just me and him.
I said, just tired. I worked on one painting. I think it's turned out all right.
Cool.
Did he tell us what time we had to be down for dinner?
7. It's 5 now.
Lucy nods.
Is everyone else in their rooms?
I think so.
Dorothy collapses on her bed and ends up drifting off. Interior, the castle. Lucy and Dorothy's room, later. About an hour later, Dorothy opens her eyes to find that Lucy has just started to put makeup on. She wearily sits up.
Guess I was more tired than I thought.
Lucy doesn't respond. Then Dorothy takes the green dress, which she's hung up, out of the wardrobe. Lucy looks it over.
Is that the dress? Oh my goodness, it's lovely.
Well, don't ask me how much it cost.
Okay.
She gestures to hers, a royal blue with short puffy sleeves.
It's mine. I've never had it. I've had it for a while, but I've never worn it before.
Nice.
Dorothy peeks at herself in the mirror. Just then, there's a knock at the door.
Come in.
Sylvie and Marta enter, both dressed. Sylvie in pink and Marta in red.
Do either of you need hair and makeup done?
Actually, that would be nice. I'm not really good at that.
No problem. You can come in our room. Give me 20 minutes to mine. Put on the dress you're going to wear and come in.
Sounds good.
Interior, the castle. Sylvie and Marta's room. Night. In her green dress, Dorothy sits at the vanity as Marta finishes curling her hair. Her makeup is already done, and Dorothy she does look different.
You really look like Judy Garland, you know?
Dorothy laughs shyly.
Never heard that one before.
Well, you do.
It's very flattering.
Dorothy looks at herself in the mirror, and Sylvie sees too.
So pretty.
Interior, the castle, banquet hall, night. The girls come down to find Gavin and Mr. Keene already there. Dorothy makes eye contact with Gavin, dressed in a nice suit, and smiles shyly at him. They all sit down and begin to eat. Classical music plays as they do.
Oh, I'm sorry, but it's from vinyl this time. But Miss Ellington, you will treat us to live music after dinner?
Yes.
Good.
Then he turns to Marta.
So what do you want to do besides Loch Ness? Because unfortunately, I have to inform you, the Loch Ness monster is not real.
Crickets.
It's a joke.
The others also laugh awkwardly.
I'd like to see some of the villages, learn about the history of the area.
That will be plenty in supply. I prefer Loch Lomond myself, but we can do that another day.
All right.
They continue to eat. Interior, the castle, ballroom, night. The group chats amongst themselves as they enter the ballroom. 6 glasses of champagne have been set out on a table. An abstract painting hangs over it. It's nothing more than yellow, orange, and red blots on canvas, but still, Dorothy is drawn in. Lucy sees Dorothy looking and gets her attention.
Mine. I painted it today.
What's it supposed to be?
It's the autumn leaves. The ones we saw on the train ride up here.
Dorothy looks at it a second longer.
I see now.
Mr. Keene approaches the champagne table and addresses them all.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for writing such wonderful essays. I'm going to be in and out these next 2 weeks, so please, the castle is your home. So make it your home, within reason, of course. I hope I'll leave you with memories to last a lifetime.
He pops the champagne, pours the glasses, and they all toast. Then he gives Lucy a look, and she walks over to the piano. She starts to play Loch Lomond, the Scottish folk song. As they all watch, Dorothy and Gavin exchange another glance. She finishes the song and blushes as they all applaud.
How about the Beach Boys? It's all right. I heard you playing them earlier.
As Lucy begins her version of Wouldn't It Be Nice, Dorothy takes her champagne and excuses herself in the hallway. Interior, the castle, hallway, night. Dorothy takes her champagne, clearly emotional as the song plays in the background. A moment later, she sees Gavin join her and sighs.
Hey, can we talk
About what?
this afternoon?
What's there to talk about?
I'm sorry, I towed a line.
No, you didn't. Gavin, I like you, okay? I just can't get involved.
Is there someone else at home?
No, that's not it. It's just, you live so far away. I don't see how it would work, and we've only known each other for 2 days.
She trails off and Gavin sighs.
I just hope it's okay for me to tell you that you look really beautiful.
Thank you. And thank you for this afternoon.
Gavin purses his lips, then takes a drink of champagne, unsure of what to say. Wouldn't It Be Nice still plays in the background.
My mom used to sing this to me when I was little.
Really?
Yeah. She loved the Beach Boys. My mother still does.
Nice.
They both stand there awkwardly.
I'm gonna go back in.
Okay.
After he leaves, Dorothy sets her champagne down, covers her face in her hands, and sighs deeply. Interior, the castle, ballroom, night. As Dorothy re-enters, Marta is just finishing her monologue from St. John. She has clearly, undoubtedly, stepped into her persona as Joan of Arc.
And keep me from everything that brings me back to the love of God, when your wickedness and foolishness tempts me to hate him.
Marta blushes.
Thank you.
They all applaud.
All right, I should be heading out for the evening, but don't let me stop you. I'm hoping we can leave for Loch Ness by 8 tomorrow, so don't stay up too late.
Good night, Mr. Keene.
Good night. It's been fun.
He leaves, and once she's sure he's out of earshot, Sylvie turns to the rest of the group.
Imagine being so rich you have 2 homes, at least.
Just then, Sylvie heads to the champagne table and pours herself the rest of the bottle.
Hey, who says you get all the champagne?
Oh, come on. You know that man's probably got a stash here somewhere.
Hey, I have an idea.
They each down the rest of their champagne, leave them on the table, and exit the ballroom. Interior, the castle, kitchen, night. The group wanders into the kitchen, where, sure enough, they see a door. Sylvie opens it, and sure enough, the door leads downstairs. Interior, the castle, wine cellar, night. We notice now that the group is all tipsy from the champagne, and Sylvie is clearly a few steps more inebriated than the rest of them.
Holy shit.
She takes a random bottle from one of the shelves.
I wonder how much this costs.
She inspects it, holding the bottle in her hand.
A month of rent, maybe?
She looks round.
This whole cellar, a down payment on a house, maybe, and it's just sitting here.
I know what you mean.
Come on, friends, it's a party. So do what we're gonna do and make good use of James Keene's hospitality.
Everyone stands awkwardly.
Does anyone have a bottle opener and glasses?
Dorothy gestures to a nearby cabinet.
Maybe in one of the drawers? I'll look.
Dorothy looks and is able to find 5 glasses and a bottle opener. She sets them on the floor, and the group sits in a semicircle. Sylvie opens the wine.
Cheers to friends.
She makes eye contact with Gavin as she pours him his glass of wine.
What?
Are you okay?
I'm great. I've never been better in my entire life. I'm here with all of you, and I'm an ocean away from day-to-day bullshit.
I'll drink to that.
Me too.
Sylvie looks at Dorothy. By now, everyone has a glass.
You're so cute.
Ow.
I bet Mom loved you. Tucked you in every night, made you meals, did your laundry, always looked after you.
Dorothy swirls her glass round and takes a sip.
That's not the whole story.
Bet it isn't.
Sylvie takes a long drink and refills her glass. The others notice there are tears in her eyes.
Well, so what if I want a drink? I'm tired of being perfect all the time. Perfect Sylvia Crockett. Perfect grades, perfect social life. Want to be a great doctor. I have to be perfect so my parents can ignore that I like girls.
The others stare at her. Sylvie laughs nervously.
You know, I always did. Never boys. I knew from a time when I was little girl. The way you know most things. Sure, I dated boys. I never felt right. I was always thought there was something wrong with me.
Sylvie wipes a tear from her eye.
Didn't matter. All of my achievements, no matter how hard I worked, I know my parents would never fully accept me.
Sylvie stops once again to catch her breath.
There was this girl, Marcy. We were best friends in high school. And then more than friends, and it felt so right. And then my mom wasn't supposed to come home one afternoon, and she got us.
By how emotional Sylvie is getting, there is more to the story that she skips over.
Ever since then, no matter how hard I work, it's never enough. It drives me crazy. So everyone who knows me seems to think I'm perfect. Winning this competition, as happy as I am to be here, it's just confirmed that for them, Sylvie gets everything she wants. But you know what I really want? Is to feel like someone really sees me for me. You know, what if there's nothing wrong with me? What if there's something wrong with the world? You know, I see myself in 20, 25 years. I'm doing what I want to do. I love. I'm with who I love, and I'm happy. And why does it seem like I have to wait just to be happy?
It's a long while before anyone speaks.
I haven't been through exactly that, but I get what you mean about having to wait to be happy. My parents have always been really supportive, but you know, I'm the oldest of 6, and I feel like they all look at me to set an example. And what if I'm not living up to their expectations?
Gavin is clearly emotional too, but he tries to hold it in.
My parents, my family, they've been through some serious stuff. Nothing was ever handed to them. My dad grew up on a farm. From the time he was 8, he had to get up at 4 every morning to help with chores and then go to school. Sometimes I wonder who am I to have all these dreams when my family works so hard just to support and provide for us. Like, why am I so special?
Because you've seen a need in people and you want to fill it.
Gavin nods.
Yeah, I guess. All the time it's Gavin, you're so young, you're only 20 years old. Relax, you have time. Time. All the time in the world. There's so many places I want to go, so many things I want to do. So why am I sitting behind a counter at a fishing store? I mean, this trip is amazing, but it's hard to wrap my head around that fact. I won't be able to afford to do anything like this on my own for a long time. And even then, there's so many people who are never going to get this opportunity.
No one has an answer.
Been a painter since I was a little girl. I'd spend all my spare time making paintings, and I would go to art museums and I would imagine my work on those walls one day. But I did it because it made me happy, and I wanted to make money doing it. And according to my mum and dad, I'm wasting my life. Every rejection that makes me want to keep going, they see it as proof that I should quit and never touch a paintbrush again. Everyone says I'm good. I'm so good. I'm so good. And this makes me happy. Why does the world want to punish me for that?
No one has an answer for her. They continue to drink.
Lucy, you and I must have the same parents.
Lucy smiles tiredly.
They rather I not be an actress. They say Hollywood doesn't want people that look like me, so I shouldn't even try. They never come to my shows. There's always some excuse for why they can't. I'm their only child. They love me so much, and they don't believe I can succeed at the only thing that makes me feel like I'm doing something right.
Lucy nods in agreement.
Sometimes I feel like the world lies to us, tells us there's one right way to live, and we do it because it's what the world expects of us. Make money to live and buy nice things. Rinse, repeat. I don't have a big dream the way all of you do. I don't know. I just want to be happy. I want to have to not worry about basic things, and sometimes I feel like that's too much to ask the world.
I think we've gotten so far evolved as a species, we've gotten lost in things that don't matter.
The group sits in silence for a moment.
I'm really happy I met all of you.
Is it just back to life after this? You say goodbye and I never see any of you ever again?
I guess.
We should stay in touch.
You're ever in Liverpool.
I don't have many friends. I never have. It's hard for me to open up to people.
Sylvie smiles at her.
Where are your friends, Dorothy?
I just don't want it to end.
But it will.
Dorothy is the first to pour more wine out of the bottle that they opened. She uses the last of it.
We might need to open another bottle.
I'm not opposed to that.
Sylvie takes the first bottle of wine that she can see and opens it. Each of them take more, except Dorothy, since she finished the first bottle.
Hey, the night is young. Should we keep the party going?
Let's do it.
They take their glasses and Sylvie takes another bottle and the bottle opener.
Oops.
Quickly, she grabs a rag and wipes it up, but does so poorly. They all go upstairs. Interior, the castle, main hall, night. The group drinks their wine, and Sylvie looks through his vinyl collection.
Oh my goodness, he has nonstop erotic cabaret. Wouldn't have guessed that. Study of the youth, perhaps?
They all laugh. Sylvie puts it on, and the sound of modern synth music fills the halls of the castle. They all start to dance, energized by the music.
Sweetheart, I loved you on the piano, but this is music.
Turn it up.
Sylvie obliges.
Dorothy,
Dorothy looks alarmed.
get your camera. I want a picture. Trust me, okay?
It's in my room.
I'll wait.
Okay.
Interior, the castle. Lucy and Dorothy's room, night. Dorothy hears Tainted Love clearly from upstairs as she rummages through her things from her camera. She gets it and goes back downstairs. Interior, the castle, main hall, night. Dorothy returns downstairs and Sylvie squeals excitedly when she sees her.
Okay, so I'm going to lie on the couch and I'm going to be like David Bowie.
Sylvie poses, just like David Bowie on the cover of The Man Who Sold the World. Dorothy takes a few shots.
Perfect.
She laughs. Then, just as the song changes, she vomits. Some gets on the carpet, the sofa, her dress.
Oh, shit.
Everyone stops what they're doing and looks to Sylvie.
Oh, no.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm sure it can be cleaned up.
Yeah, but no one's here to help.
They will be in the morning. You'll tell me the first thing.
Oh, he's going to be so pissed.
Then Sylvie vomits again.
Okay, let's go upstairs. It's going to be okay.
Marta and Sylvie disappear down the hallway, and Lucy, Gavin, and Dorothy exchange awkward looks.
Get some towels from the kitchen.
Is anyone else sick?
No, I'm okay.
Lucy leaves, leaving Dorothy and Gavin alone, and she gestures to Sylvie's pool of vomit.
You know, I've been there.
I can't say I have.
Gavin moves very closely to Dorothy, and for a moment they stand very close to one another. But that's all they do before Lucy returns with towels.
Yuck, it smells.
I mean, if Keene has to replace anything, it's not like it's going to be a problem for him.
Lucy furiously tries to wipe up as much vomit as she can, but it's not enough.
I think you've done all you can tonight.
Lucy nods.
Yeah, let's go to bed. He said he'd be here early.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like we did it on purpose, so.
Yeah.
Gavin takes a deep breath.
Good night, ladies.
Good night.
Interior, the castle. Lucy and Dorothy's room, night. Dorothy, now dressed in pajamas, tries to fall asleep. Then she starts to cry. Not happy, not sad, but just completely overwhelmed by all the highs and lows of the day. Fade out.